what's up, everybody? Josie here, and today we're gonna be doing. I have a special guest. I got my cousin. Say hello.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
So, Last of Us 2 has been out for what, like a month now?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I figured since it's a month now, we had enough time to digest, and I finally passed the game. I figured it'd be a good time to discuss just certain things, what we felt the game uh, succeeded in, and what the shortcomings are. And it's just very interesting because it's a game that's very polarizing, I feel. But
and with good reason.
with good reason, but I also feel like a lot of that negativity seems to be overshadowing a lot of the great aspects that the game does have. So we're going to cover some of that as well.
That's a
All
good point.
right. Yeah. All right. So I guess the first thing, the main thing is the first thing I wanted to cover is like the gameplay. You know. So what do you feel about the gameplay? Like specifically the way the gameplay loop, scavenging, um, the encounters, like how do you think that?
And
How
then
do you?
back.
Yeah, and then back.
I'll be honest, I don't feel like there was that much of a difference from the first game. I thought they just made it a little bit better, which there was nothing wrong with it in the first place.
Uh huh.
So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I don't feel like they really changed things up. I mean, yeah, there was like new weapons, like the mine, which is actually pretty fun to use.
Yeah, that is fun.
But as as for the encounters, personally, I felt like there should have been a lot more encounters. I did feel like there was, especially when you were like by yourself, there was long stretches of the game where you just weren't doing anything other than scavenging.
Uh huh. Okay. Well, to that point, that was a lot of the first game as well. There was just a whole bunch of time where you were just walking around. I think the difference in this one is that many times the character's just alone. Where in the first one you're always
Yeah,
with Ellie, so even if you're not necessarily doing anything, you're still getting a lot of character interaction, which I think is cool. Um,
but even when there's long stretches of nothing, in the first one, you have Ellie like with her joke book,
yeah, yeah,
and then you're getting to know characters. In this one, you're really not.
yeah. That I agree. I felt like it was a bit too long, just because for that, and I also felt the encounters were a bit too big for my tastes. Um,
Yeah,
what?
there was definite moments where, like in the first one, you really felt like an actual person, like a human being in this world. And
Uh,
in this one, there's just like especially the one that comes to mind is when you're going into the hospital
uh,
and Abby, I mean not Abby, Ellie, I think just kills like 7 or 8 people. It felt unrealistic,
it feels more of a
video
game,
gamey.
yeah. Where the first one was like it was trying to do more of a gritty take, I guess,
But
or
on
grounded.
on the other hand, uh, your boss fight against Ellie when you're Abby kind of shows what it's like to face her, and she's like sort of this demonic little leprechaun.
Yeah, yeah. She killed me so many times. Um, how do you feel about like looting for materials and like the stuff that you have to craft? Was that
I I
satisfying?
played I played on moderate, so I thought it was fair. I do feel like the weapon mods this time around,
They're more strict.
yeah, they asked for too many parts.
Yeah, like you really have to go through a whole tree to get that one thing you want. Where in the first one is
Yeah,
like you pick and choose.
well, you can
Which
kind of do that in this one, but like
yeah,
one
well,
that comes to mind is the burst fire on I think it's Abby's gun on
yeah,
one of her
the
rifles,
rifle, yeah.
and it was pretty much useless. And at the end, you get the sort of that I think it's the SMG as Ellie, and it's just that one is actually fun.
Yeah. Well, I think the SMG, I kind of compared that one to like that assault rifle you get as Joe in the very last
Oh yeah,
house. Yeah. So like as soon as I got the SMG, I kind of felt like okay, this is the end game, so I'm gonna use it. Because I remember the first time I played the first one, when you get that rifle, and I'm just like I'm not using anything because I don't know. I'm trying not to waste my resources, and then I finished the game, and I'm just like okay, I could have done this like 10 times faster.
yeah. I carried an explosive arrow the entire game, and I only used it like when I was when you go into the bunker and you see like them beating up a slave, and that was the first and only time I use the explosive arrow.
Right, definitely. I always had him. I think more towards like later half of the game, I did start using them more just because there were instant kills for clickers, so that was always good. Um, just I felt the blast radius wasn't that much, so like I missed once, and the arrow landed like literally right behind the dude, and it just didn't do anything. Uh,
Uh,
what I
for
did
the
like,
infected,
uh-huh.
oh sorry, go
No, go
on.
ahead, go ahead.
Well, for the infected, I never really felt like they were that much of a challenge to me. It was again mostly the people that were the real threat.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I never felt the need to use my special ammunition.
Well, you know me. I see a clicker, I'm pulling out the Molotov, which made well, how do you feel about that? The different weapons that each character has.
You know, I've said it before, but I felt like they gave Abby the probably in an attempt to make you like this bitch, and
So that's okay.
this is a totally unbiased review, by the way.
So spoilers, you already kind of know where Brandon's leaning into.
I felt like they, in an attempt to make her like they gave her the Rat King, you know, that big hulking monstrosity in the bottom of the hospital.
Uh-huh.
They gave her the flamethrower, which is one of my favorite parts of the first game.
Oh, that flamethrower is nice. Yes, definitely.
And honestly, I just felt like she had better weapons.
Uh, I'm gonna totally disagree, just because I feel like I hated her pipe bombs. I hated the
Oh
cross.
no
I
no no!
hated.
Sorry, the pipe bombs were just awful. Like you needed so much patience and strategy to use because they
And
bounce
they
twice.
bounce, so you gotta like know where they're going. And then there's like that delay, so sometimes you don't even get the kill, you know. So it's a
Well,
bit
you know,
frustrated.
I think their weapons kind of fit their storyline.
Yeah, that's true. It definitely fits their style. I mean, I guess my thing is just I just love Molotovs. So you take away my Molotovs, I'm not gonna have a good time.
Well, can I let me amend my statement then, because you bring up a lot of good points. I think I liked Abby's guns a bit
Guns,
more,
okay, okay.
and I liked Ellie's like special like the mines were really fun.
Like the
The
crafting
stun
stuff.
grenade, yeah, the
Yeah.
stun grenade is really fun, and I
I'm
love
not.
just
I'm not.
throwing a bottle.
I wasn't a fan of the smoke bombs.
Oh, they're awesome because like when people are coming by, you just throw one, and then like it knocks them down, and you just go and you golf club them to the head,
Yeah,
or scissor them to
I
the
guess
head.
I say I don't like them, but I guess the problem is I just never actually used them. I just had them, and I'm just like I don't want to use this. I just if I come because if I can hit him with a smoke bomb, I might as well just hit him with a Molotov.
And but yeah, the Molotovs for me were reserved for groups of clickers. You know, you throw a bottle in, or you throw a bottle to attract the clickers to you know to the wolves or to the
Right.
Amish people, and then you just throw a Molotov.
Yeah. Uh, well, how do you feel about the crafting to like? I guess specifically, do you feel like you're always searching for supplies, or do you feel like you always have enough, or just barely enough?
Well, I feel like I'm kind of like a vulture in this game. I'm just picking the place clean. Like I
Uh-huh.
always had. There was very few times where like I didn't have at least two like health packs,
Right.
and usually the times like sort of the encounters that made me use all my ammo, I wasn't even mad because you know those were kind of what I wanted, like the big hordes of people or big
Uh-huh.
hordes of infected. So I felt like that part again. I did play on moderate, so I felt like it was fair.
Yeah, I also felt the same way. Like I always felt you had just enough where you don't want to be wasteful, but like, cause like when you have like full ammo, you're just like shooting, and then once you're like used up two clips, you're like, okay, okay, I need to like start counting my shots. And I think I never felt like I didn't have enough, you know, but I did feel like that pressure of like maybe I should keep an eye on certain things.
I felt like realistically, like unless they were making their own ammo, there should not be this much like this much resources out there.
Right. Well, yeah, like I think Abby, they showed you how they're making their ammo, so that kind of makes sense. But like out in the world, you tend to find a whole bunch of stuff,
Yeah, but
and
you
then
didn't see that with the like with Jackson. I mean, maybe
yeah,
they
with
were. Who
Jackson,
knows?
yeah, I think well, I think we touched a little bit on the upgrades. So did you have a problem with like how the upgrades work? like specifically weapons and like the little upgrade trees on like your skills.
Oh, you mean like with the magazines?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's I didn't have I did and I didn't. During the first half of the game with Ellie, I felt like there was like the supplements were they were a lot more scarcer than they were during Abby's game. Like,
Right, yeah, because I felt like with Abby, they're trying to catch you up real quick, so you're
and
just
that makes
finding
sense
stuff.
because you've already played for 8 hours. To make you go back to the beginning with a character that you hate,
It was 14 hours for me. I spent with Ellie.
yeah, but you're not you're like the exception.
But yeah, I totally agree. It's like they make you start all over, so they're like trying to catch you up as quickly as possible. But it
Yeah,
does
but
feel like
by the
it does feel like a little bit unfair. Like wow, you're getting everything.
yeah, because you know when you're playing when you're playing a video game, you know there's a learning curve and there's like an upgrade curve,
Uh-huh.
and
And they drip feed you
then
certain
they make
things.
you start all over again after like because you know by the end of your alley playthrough like it's just fun because you know you have all your stuff, you have all your traps, you know how to kill these people, you have like the resources to kill them in like fun and
Yeah.
unique ways, and then you just go to Abby and then she's just like okay.
Yeah, I think once you find all the manuals, I thought Abby's like gameplay opened up way more, just because you have all
Oh
these
for
options.
sure.
Like I really love that. I didn't utilize it as much, but that one skill where you could chain like executions,
Oh yeah,
that's
I've used it like
amazing.
twice.
Yeah, and it like I think her stealth it gets a lot of good upgrades. Basically, her upgrades make her like just a very efficient killer. Just like
Which she
brutal.
is in the game. You know, she's
Yeah,
like the number one almost killer.
her gameplay like favors more aggressive approach. Like for me, like with her, I'm just like, sometimes I'll just like straight up walk and just start shooting.
And that's, I think, it's kind of how she's meant to be played. She's not really like Ellie, who's just like a stealth character.
Oh, because
She is like a soldier.
Ellie's like smaller and more like nimble, and Abby's just like this like killer and like very brutal. So I like that. And
Well, while we're talking about Ellie's size, I did find that she was a little bit too skinny to be like
okay.
pulling off like all these things, like killing all these like big hulking brutes.
Uh, maybe. I mean, I guess it depends.
She,
I just feel like I felt like I always felt like it was a struggle. Like she was doing it, but in her, I never. It didn't break the immersion because I felt like you were earning those kills. It was hard.
you know what? I didn't feel like it was that hard.
Oh well.
I think because I always had so much supplies.
Yeah. What now? Like when you went for like the stealth kills, like she's struggling. Where like Abby just like puts those biceps over the dude's like neck, and you're just like, this guy's dead.
Oh, for sure. Actually, you're right. Like when you're as Ellie and you kill somebody, if you ever like look at her face, like
She's
she's
like,
she's
it's
like
like,
putting all her strength behind
yeah,
it.
and I think that's a really good kind of touching the detail. Well, how do you feel about the enemy types? I think you touched a little bit on it.
Um, I don't think there was that much variety to be honest. On
Yeah,
especially with the infected,
is a lot of the same.
you get you get the what are they called?
The
The
shamblers and then the
yeah, shamblers.
those are the ones that are like the stocky or are
Oh, and the prowlers, right? I think is what they're called.
prowlers, something like that. Yeah.
Well, I did like the prowlers and how they were, you know, they'd hide and they'd come out of the walls. It was a nice kind of like
Oh,
horror factor.
those dudes. Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of like the opposite. I felt like that was a little it was too much. I feel like I felt personally like the game did not need any new enemy types just because you already had what you had, and
Yeah, well,
it's like
I didn't. The shamblers weren't hard, and I felt like they didn't make use of the enemy types that they had. Like,
yeah,
I really
that's
liked
kind of
the
my
Rat
thing.
King, but
Yeah,
we barely saw any bloaters. Like by now,
it,
like how many years since initial infection? Like 20 something years.
yeah, like around there should be more. You think?
There should have been a lot more bloaters.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of differ because to me, a lot of these enemy types like the Rat King and like all the bloaters, even the bloater in the first game, I felt like that's where you were kind of like stretching it too far, and it was becoming more video game like, more like Resident Evil type stuff. And I'm just like, that's not what this game is to me. You know? That's me
Mm,
personally. I know like they have to like introduce new things just so it's not the same thing. I get that, but I felt like you underutilize the clickers and the runners that you already had. Like they're barely in this. They're like a little obstacle at times.
well, I feel like there definitely should be. You know, let's. I do like your point about the bloaters, but just going by like the game lore, there should have been like at least a lot more clickers because you know people have been infected a lot
A
more.
lot more. Yeah, that's what I mean.
But
Like you run into a room, like maybe you encounter like a room with like a few of them, and then you're kind of done. And then you encounter these big areas with like 30 guys, and it's like, okay.
but while we're talking about like different enemies, one thing that I found that they did it right was the introduction of the dogs with the wolves.
Oh yeah. That was a good
And
introduction.
this might be jumping ahead, but like I love their connection. Like when you shot them, like you know people would like, oh fuck my dog, you know, and like that's exactly what my response would be.
Yeah, that's definitely something
I
that
would have enjoyed like if they had like a rage mode or something, like where you kill their dog and they just become
they
immune to
just like
fire for
start
like
start
five
running
seconds.
towards you, or just like they just throw a caution to the wind, just start rushing you.
Yeah, because that's what I think would happen.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, so that's kind of like my thing on the enemy types. I feel like there's a bit too much, and you didn't utilize what you have. What about the humans? What do you feel about those big hulking guys?
I liked
You,
it because you know they're I know a lot of big people,
of course.
and I I guess I'm happy to represent it.
I think they're kind of hard sometimes. I literally shot this dude in the head. He didn't die. He just had like a Michael Jackson nose, where his nose was missing and then he killed me. I'm just like, dude, what the hell? I think
Uh,
you encounter more of them with Abby, which I guess it makes sense since she's um they're like more of a challenge for her. And then
well, you remember this is like Darwinism. It's like survival of the fittest in this world. So you would think that like there'd be a lot more big people.
yeah, I mean I mean you have Abby, who's like this like pretty much she's
Bodybuilder.
bodybuilder, so like you'd imagine she's not the only one bodybuilding, and you see them. Um,
I actually
I like how one of the female ones looks like Miss Trunchbull from Matilda. You ever?
oh yeah,
I was having to laugh because I'm like, so
she's the one
Miss,
that steals your backpack, right?
yeah, Miss Trunchbull. I was like, yes, Miss Trunchbull, sir. That's a throwback for all you '90s kids.
But I actually really liked how Abby was so muscular. Like you would think again compared to Ellie, like this is what you would need to survive in this
Uh
world.
huh. Yeah, I was never thrown off by it. Like this was way before like the whole Joel thing happened when you first start the game. I'm like, yeah, this girl's a badass. I like her. Yeah,
I knew where it was going. I thought she was gonna.
well, we
To be
kind of
honest,
like we kind of
I
knew
never thought they'd
regardless.
kill Joel because I'm just like, why would you kill the main character of the first game? The reason your
To
sales were so good.
to manipulate you to make you feel things. I think before like I move on to a different thing. One last thing about the controls. How do you like the shooting?
I actually really liked it. I think they made it a lot better. I
Yeah.
really liked the rifle. I really liked the pistol.
Oh, that pistol's
There
like my
was
favorite. The
there was
hunting
very few
pistol.
things about the combat gameplay, if anything, that I didn't like.
Yeah, and what I like, it was the same thing as in the first one, is that basically you're not like it's not like Call of Duty or all these other shooters where you could just like efficiently just like shoot things down like crazy, because there's always like this sway, and it feels like more realistic. It feels like when you take a shot, you gotta make sure you have it, you know. And I really like that
Yeah,
aspect. Like it feels more real. There's always that sway, and sometimes you miss, and it's just like, well, damn, you
that's why I
know.
really feel like this game needs a horde mode or a survivor mode. Just you know, fighting waves. Doesn't even have to be multiplayer. It would be great, but it doesn't have
De-
to be.
Definitely. I think this kind of like segues perfectly into the next thing where I want to talk about like the production. So you feel like there should be another like multiplayer aspect?
At least that. At least horde. I'm not asking for like fighting other people.
Yeah. No factions like in the first game.
Yeah, to be honest, I only know what you've told me about it,
Um.
but I don't think it needs it. But I feel like Survivor or Horde mode or whatever you want to call it would really fit this.
Yeah. I think well. the when the multiplayer came out in the first game, a lot of people said it didn't need it, but then when you played it, you're like, well, I didn't need it, but I'm glad it's here. It's one of those
Well, it's kind
things.
of like BioShock had that too. You didn't
Yeah.
need it at all, but it was fun.
And then I think Uncharted 2 and 3 also, well 4 also had it as well, and it was like the same thing where it's not
I
necessary, but
loved,
it's
I
really fun.
loved Uncharted 4 multiplayer, dude. That was
Yeah,
so much fun. It was like the closest thing I could get to Gears of War on this on the
yeah,
PS4.
and it's just fun. They know how to do it because they don't take it seriously, you know. It's fun.
And I love that you have like your artifacts and you have your different guns. You have like your dances, and then
You're so
you
tough.
have like Nathan Drake in like a tuxedo or like as a barbarian,
Yeah,
and
with
that's it's just so ridiculous and
yeah.
fun.
No, I feel like that wouldn't fit with this world.
Well, you
Um,
don't need that. You just
no,
need
just like you
you
said, a
know,
horde mode or something, survival.
yeah, that's what I think.
Or like, yeah, you can make it fit in world. Like have like people from Jackson have to go for supplies, and then you gotta clear out this building. So it could be, you could work
Yeah,
things
it
out
could be
like
like
that.
little things like that, or like you could be like you could be a patrol on Jackson, or a patrol on the Wolves, or maybe
Or yeah, like if
the
you
Amish
that's
people.
that's a good thing. Like you're a wolf, and then you're patrolling. Or like how they established that how the wolves invaded the island. Or you could do a little
Yeah.
something like that where you play as Seraphites and you're trying to like I don't know
Oh,
like
defend against them. Yeah.
defend them while you get like the kids or some of the other survivors out of the islands. Little stuff like that that fit in the
Yeah, that'd be
world
pretty
already.
good.
There's a lot of stuff you can add. One thing I know we're both gonna agree on is the music. I think it's amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure. The
Like
production of this game was very beautiful, and they delayed the game because they said they didn't want to release something that was incomplete or something that wasn't be like the production value that they wanted.
uh-huh.
And I thought it was really good choices. The game is beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. And like obviously graphics isn't like everything in a game, but it does help. And the game is not just graphics. One of my the best aspects to me in the production is like the animation, the little detail stuff, the stuff that we mentioned, like when you kill the dog. But
Hmm.
also, what I like is if you kill the dog's master, the dog will start crying and like, like
I did that once on your recommendation, and
it's
I
just
I
like
felt
upsetting.
awful because like hurting the dog to hurt the human is like all right, but like to make that dog feel that it's like no, I'm not a monster.
Yeah, it's just like you kind of feel upset. It kind of like I don't know. I felt like shitty after a while. I'm just like, well, damn, I don't want to do
Yeah,
all
like
that.
I have a dog that walks from like room to room, and so whenever he walked in, I couldn't do it, so I just had to take a break because I couldn't do it in front of him.
Uh-huh. Also, do you think the the level of the graphic detail and animation,
Yeah, well, for
how
my
do you
part go.
yeah?
Sorry.
I was gonna say how do you think that impacts like the violence? Do you think some people are gonna be like bothered by it just because it's very like real?
I think they should because to me, and again, you said to you graphics wasn't really everything, but it helped. But for me, I felt like the graphics really helped like immersion and like kind of role play as these characters, and
Yeah,
like the like we were talking about how like if you threw a bottle at somebody's face, like, and then when you killed them and you look at their face, you could see like
the
you could see it like
shards.
yeah, you could see the shards embedded in their face. I do felt like it kind of added like it made the game feel a little more heavy. Like
Yeah, like there was
you don't,
consequence to what you were doing.
especially again, this is jumping a little ahead, but the theme of the game, for better for worse, is sort of he who seeks revenge should dig two graves or that kind of stuff,
Uh-huh.
or there's no winners in that, and it really, especially when you're killing these people or like you kill their dogs and like the people are genuinely like concerned
Yeah,
or
like when
genuinely
you kill
like
someone, you hear someone, oh, Jeffrey,
yeah
no,
that
stuff like that.
that's a
Just
good
like,
one.
sorry,
Like if
Jeffrey.
you kill them and then like you just hear them scream and then like they're so angry,
Yeah,
and
it's little details, but it makes the world feel more real. Like
but it,
and
it sort of adds like it kind of makes you think too, like, is all this death worth it for just one man? Like, you love this person. We all love Joel. Otherwise, why would
uh
you play this game? Well, maybe that's a bad thing to say, but for those of us that bought it because of the Last of Us one, we love Joel,
yeah,
and when you're just killing all these people and then you can't really enjoy it
Yeah,
because of the graphics, I think.
yeah, which I feel like it's intentional. It makes you question everything because it's not like a game where because on the opposite side, like the studio made Uncharted 4, and they don't over there you kill like probably like 100 times as many people, but they don't dwell on it, and it's just like it's a choice, right? Where I hear like, nah, you when you're choking a guy out, their face is turning all red. Uh, like when Abby was like on the news, you said her face was turning all red, and then even after like the few hours afterwards, she has the bruise around her neck still, which is like,
Oh yeah, yeah, I really like that.
and then you see
Um,
the bruises on her arms as well, like on her wrists, which I think is really good.
but Uncharted is like it's a different world altogether.
Yeah, but like it's just like
Because
the
Uncharted is like
juxtaposition
it's
shows
an
you,
adventure. Yeah,
yeah, it just shows you how like they're aware that this violence is for a purpose, and like
yeah, and there were moments though. Having said that, where I was just like,
too much.
no, 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 where I was just like, fuck yeah. Like
Nah, there was.
I'm sure we'll talk about it, but like when you're playing as Abby and then you're up against that sniper who ends up being Tommy,
Uh-huh. And your friend
and
gets killed in the face.
yeah, and I was just like,
I was
all
just
right.
like, I had just started to like the guy. I was like, oh, all right, this guy's not that bad. And then bam, I was like, well, he's dead.
I really liked him at first, but I just felt like he was kind of too much of a stereotype.
Oh,
He just kept
yeah,
saying pendejo like over and over and over, and it felt like a stereotype to me. Like
yeah.
if you want like a really, and I don't want to make this political or anything,
No, I
but if
think
you want like a really good depiction of like a Mexican in like video games, it'd be like Red Dead Redemption, Javier Escuela, the second one. He doesn't have a lot of depth in the first one, but in the second one you find out, who he is. He talks a little about Mexico, why he left, his political beliefs. He's like an honest, well, as honest as you can get for an outlaw. He's a good friend, a good ally. Like I thought that was a really good depiction, and
right, right.
compared to that, I think Manny falls short.
Okay. Um, I don't feel as let me see. Well, I guess I see what you're saying, and I could see like people being how you could be bothered by it. Personally, I didn't feel like it was way too
Well, I
much.
wasn't I wasn't bothered
I
by
think
it.
for me it was just like on the line for me.
No, I wasn't bothered by it. I think if I had like one real complaint is I don't think he had a personality other than being Mexican.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Um,
And even then, like I know very few people who mix up the language as much as he did.
I think it was a little bit. I feel like a little bit intentional, maybe, because I feel like there was more. I think definitely Ali's characters or her friends or her circle they were more developed. Where in this one,
Oh, for sure. You don't hear Jesse making Asian jokes.
With Abby, I felt like they wanted to focus mainly on Owen and their relationship. So I felt like they spent all the time on him, and a lot of her other companions fell a little bit short.
Oh yeah, I
So
felt it worked for sure.
yeah,
Like,
some of them are just
well,
like meant to be there and just die. But even so, I think they meant like when you're with Manny as Abby, you could tell there's history there. So I appreciate that, and it adds to the world building as well. But I do see how he could be one note character because I feel like he kind of is. Just I didn't feel he was like I wouldn't say stereotype to me personally. Just I do feel he is one note.
maybe not a stereotype because nothing like he did was racist. It's not like he was like, bean burritos.
Well, they do
But
get burritos. They look pretty good.
I know. But I lost my train of thought.
Sorry. You just mentioned burritos and I just
I got hungry,
yeah.
and no, I just felt again like it wasn't stereotype. It was just like that's all. That's like how I remember him. Like
Yeah.
I think you and I were talking about it, and I mentioned Manny, and then you were like, "Who?" And I'm like, "The Mexican."
He's
And
like,
you're like,
oh, okay,
"Oh, the
okay.
burrito guy."
The
Is what
burrito
you
guy.
said.
That's how I remember him by. Well, after I played him, now I remember as the guy that got shot in the face. But
But
for the
yeah, I
most
felt
part,
like they didn't. Most of Abby's companions were just, except for Owen, were just who I think is like a genuinely good man
uh-huh.
in this world. Like he was
Yeah,
justified in getting revenge from his point of view.
yeah.
And we'll
Well,
talk
I
about it
think,
more, I'm sure, in the
yeah,
story part.
I
But
think well, since we're still talking about characters, I feel like I don't know, like it was definitely a choice because like how much time do you want to spend on Abby's characters? So I think it was definitely smart to just focus on Owen, just because you needed that one relationship to be like really strong, and then make her feel more human. And the rest, like I said, fell a little bit short. Um, what was the name of the one that was pregnant? The one that was with Owen? I
Mel.
forget her name. You didn't like her,
Her
huh?
name is Mel. No, it's just again, it sort of falls under the one note character thing because she's a
It,
doctor. She's I honestly probably like 8 months pregnant. She's still out there. She probably could have said no, but she still
well,
goes out because
like
plot.
yeah, we mentioned this like in a conversation how it's not like she could have said no. It's like she should have been prohibited. Like you would think. Not only is she a doctor, that alone would have any group like not send her out. To add on that she's pregnant, so like I feel like maybe she snuck out and we don't know or something. But I feel like there's definitely something there. Like she should not
I
be out
personally I feel like it's kind of a mean thing to say maybe, but I feel like the whole reason she was pregnant was
to make
to
you
sort
feel
of
bad.
parrot. No, to
Oh,
when
the
at the end when
parallel.
yeah, to parallel Dina being pregnant, and when Abby holds a knife to her throat,
Uh huh.
and then she has this sadistic look on her face,
Yeah,
like
and then
good.
she good. I was like, damn, that moment. Like I don't want to, like I don't want to jump ahead, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of the moments. I was like,
Well,
wow.
I think you can't talk about their personalities without jumping ahead a bit.
No, no, definitely. Um, what about well, to continue on Mal, I think I did like that moment where you are with her and Abby, and how they're like, you get this sense of like history between them, and then
Oh, the love triangle, right?
yeah,
Where
the
they're
love
like,
triangle. But like even then, like they're trying to like get along more, trying to like actually like each other because they're like, you get the sense that they just been like ignoring each other this whole time. Abby doesn't want to like go on patrol with her and all this stuff.
well,
But
she is like a killer, and she is like a piece of shit. Like she said,
yeah,
Abby is not a good person. She does take joy in killing people. She, you know what? I don't want to say this out loud, but what she did to Joel was, in the context of this world. But all right, let's ignore the doctor stuff and all the whether they can make a vaccine or not and distribute it, which I doubt. We
yeah,
both have doubted.
we've said like
Because
it was not gonna happen. They don't have
let
the
me let, let me just get off topic really quick. In
yeah.
the first game, that surgery room is just gutted. It looks like that building is condemned. They have like those floodlights on to operate on this little girl who did not give consent,
Uh-huh.
and it's a different doctor. And then they retcon that, and then in Abby's the way Abby sees it, it's like this beautiful like hospital in like Cedar Sinai or like some other Beverly Hills hospital, and everything like looks like it's gonna work, and they have all the tools. Let's ignore that part. But it was still her father, and like in this world with no laws other than like the way of the gun, I
Uh-huh.
felt like she was justified in seeking out Joel.
Definitely.
So on that part,
As much as we hate what happened, it's like we see
this
why.
is your dad,
Yeah.
and again, Ellie is also just as justified. Well,
Yeah, but it goes back to
let,
like,
let's let's wait with Ali till
yeah,
we talk about the
I want to
story,
wait on
whether
that
she's
just because that's
justified or not. Yeah.
yeah.
But what was I saying before? I
I don't
just like
I do not
I get
remember.
so filled up with rage when I talk about Abby.
I think we were talking about Mal, and then you went on to Abby.
Oh, how she was a piece of shit. Yeah. She kind of is, just like her whole thing. Like she's not a good person, but I do feel like she's trying to be a better person, and it kind of shows with Lev, how she kind of takes him under the wing, and I forget his sister's name, Yara.
Yeah,
Yara, right?
yeah, right, yeah.
How she rescues both of them, and she is trying to make amends. And maybe that's because of what she did to Joel. Maybe she's horrified on some level of what she was
Well,
capable of
I
doing.
feel like it's possibly like she did this, and I feel like maybe she doesn't feel satisfied. Like she's because I don't. Well, I guess we could jump a little bit on story, but like my thing is like she spent like basically like the last what 5 6 years hell bent on revenge. Working out, becoming this like killer just so she could seek out revenge. And then she finally does it, and it's like, yeah, but look at everything I lost. Like Owen's over here with this chick. Like I could have been having his babies. Because you get the sense like no, because they do mention how when you first go to the aquarium with Owen, how he wants her to stay there, and she's like, "Nah, I gotta go back because we gotta leave." like on where he's at, and it says a lot that her friends are willing to follow her on this pursuit. They care about her enough that they're
Yeah, they
willing to
have
do,
history.
yeah, they're willing to do this for her. But it's like she did lose a lot, like her whole life or potential of what could have her life could have been. It's just like
See,
all lost.
while we're talking about this, can we talk about the ending really quick? Which is, I think, why this ending pisses me off.
Okay.
Because this does parallel Ellie, right?
Uh-huh.
You know,
Definitely.
Abby got her revenge, and she still has her friends. She's still cool with Manny, but everyone, it's costing her everything. It cost her Owen. Ellie kind of realized that and broke the cycle, but when she went home, she lost everything. And unless there's like DLC that tells us otherwise, it just, to me, it leaves like a bitter, bitter taste in my mouth.
Well, that's kind of why I liked it, because
Yeah,
it's
but she
like
broke the cycle of revenge. I don't feel like if she had killed Abby, then yeah, it would have been like poetry and it would have rhymed. Like if you seek revenge, you're gonna lose everything.
yeah.
It's
So you're
better to
saying so
forgive.
you're saying that she shouldn't have killed her and then come back and Dina should still be there.
No, the Dina part felt realistic because why would you can't stick around there with yourself and a baby all alone.
Right. You would go back to Jackson.
Yeah, but she lost. Again, this is skipping over to the last part. She lost 3 fingers. She can't play the guitar,
Yeah. That's one thing.
and that was
Like
like the one good thing
the
that
one
Joel
thing
left
she
her.
had from Joe. And well, that's kind of like what I mean about the whole parallel. She lost everything because of this revenge story. You
But she
know?
didn't get revenge, is my thing.
It, well, in a way, she did. She killed everyone that Abby cared about, dude.
You know the song that she's trying to play, right? You know the name of the song?
What is the one that Joel sings? If I
It's
were to
Future
lose you,
Days.
it's Days of Future
So
Past.
no, but it's like just the title, like Future Days. Like she should have like played it, and then it would have shown that she moved on. But now she can't even play that. So
Exactly, because she went on this journey. Because the journey didn't start at that moment. The journey started in the beginning of the game when she went. That was her decision to go on this quest, and that's like the thing that set into motion of her losing everything. She
well,
lost. Jesse's dead.
well, should we backtrack since it seems like we're done talking with characters? Should we
Okay.
start from the beginning of the story?
Yeah. Okay. We should get on. We'll get on to the story then.
Where do you want to start?
Well, that sounds. Well, let's start with the big one. Joel getting his face smushed. On a scale of
Uh,
1 to 10, why was it a 10 of how much you cried?
this game reminded me again a lot about Red Dead. Just because, sorry, it's
Don't, want-
killing a
don't,
lot.
don't, don't, don't spoil Red Dead for me, please.
Oh no, I'm not. Just like in terms of emotion, because there was certain times in Red Dead Redemption where I would just be like, no, like I would like out loud like say something, and when she killed Joel, like to me that was unthinkable. Like
Right.
so when they killed Joel, it was
And so early on, you're just like, whoa.
I don't think I was even
I
really
was
that
prepared.
sad. I think I was just angry and like
Well, I think that's what they
and
were.
excited to be honest about the game. And like I would get like in a lot of these games, even like if you're role playing in your head, it's like it's hard to have like the same motivation as the character.
Right. But this
Like
one,
if you're
like,
playing like an elder, like if you're playing Skyrim, like it's just fun killing dragons. You don't have any personal stake in this.
right, real investment. But I feel like in this one, like,
It's like if Uncharted 5 killed Elena or Sully,
yeah,
you would want
definitely.
revenge.
Yeah, especially right here, the way it's played is like they're playing on your emotions. They want you to feel that rage because the whole game is about rage, and they want you to feel what Ellie feels, and you do. I feel like it's effective.
But I do feel like it's too effective because you have Manny
Yeah,
again, who kicks Joel and then calls him a pendejo. His
yeah, yeah.
first of many many times
You got
saying that.
the dude that got cut in the face, that wanted to kill you.
Yeah, but well, I think Manny because like I did like him as a person. Like he seemed like a fun character,
But then,
even if
yeah,
he's a little one note. But like when he died, it was just like fuck yeah, that's what you get. Like I did not care that he died. I did not care that any of them died from their perspective. Like I liked Owen and I thought he was a good man. Did
Right.
not care.